Who fancies shooting lower scores? Now, I guarantee improving your putting will make a drastic difference to your scorecard with hardly any work. So today I want to share with you a few tips that I would recommend that you could use both at home or at the golf course to really lower your scores and improve your putting. So this video, we're really going to look at how we can build a great calibration to make sure your eye's in the correct position for you, how we can stand the correct distance away, the width of stance, the ball position, the shaft lean to deliver a repeatable putting stroke. I'm going to share with you a few teaching aids that I would recommend that can be used indoors or outdoors that will help lower your scores. Now, these products are supplied by a partner of mine called Fat Plate, and there are various different names for the products: Putt Plate, Mirror Bar, Arc Mat, and so on. They're all available, they're all good. Have a look at the products, see what you like. There will be a code down below you can use. And also I'm giving the opportunity for one lucky viewer to win one of these putting mats, which is worth about £100, for the best comment down below. And also follow us both on social media if you can, please. Now this mat, what I like about this mat, it gives me a visual for my start line. It also has that vector going out to show obviously the width of the hole as I get closer to the hole. I like that visually. And after the hole, we have a lighter green shade which narrows back in, which shows the effective hole size at that distance past the hole. So we can then start to see if we're hitting it a certain distance past the hole, what does that change in the effective hole size. The other side of the mat, we have dots where we can land the ball on, or roll the ball to, or putt from there to the hole to practice different lengths. You can use it various different ways. It rolls nicely, it rolls up nicely, so it tidies up out the way. It's a good mat, it's a good surface, it has good visuals, and if you use some of these other tools I'm going to use today, it becomes a crucial part of your putting development to score lower. So the first thing I want to start with is really where your eyes should sit. Now, a lot of people believe their eyes should be over the golf ball. Now, that's not really what I'm going to be talking about today. It might be that's where you need to have them, but let's check it. This is a very simple check. If you have a line on your putter and we have a logo on the golf ball in a straight line, what I want you to do is set up and try and get those two to match visually. Now, when I take my address position to that, if I then move my eyes towards the camera, so past the golf ball, those lines should no longer match. And if I move them drastically back the other way, those lines again should no longer match. So I'm looking for the sweet spot where those lines match. And wherever that spot is where those lines match is the spot we want to use as our position for our eyes to see a visual straight line. If we don't see a straight line here, we will compensate within the stroke to make the ball go where we perceive the target to be. So for me, my eyes now are just on the edge of this mirror I have here, this mirror plate. Now basically, depending on how close I get this mirror plate to the golf ball, so I got it in there. Now if I get those matched up, my eyes are on that first thick line. And I would use that then to calibrate my eyes every single time to make sure I can build my posture around that. Now building your posture, a couple of key things. I like to see a slightly flat top to your back. The reason for this is it allows your shoulders to rock. If I stand in a normal kind of posture with my shoulders back, I'm going to get a bigger arc to my stroke. So if you need a bigger arc to your stroke, standing more with your shoulders back will help you. If you need a straighter stroke, having your shoulders more rounded will help you. So we can cater it depending on what your individual needs are. But the key thing is this: build your setup around your eyes. So that's where I would be. If I use this mirror plate again, for me that's a good width of stance. So if I get my feet, so the mirror plate is pretty much on the insteps of my feet, that's a good width of stance for me for putting. If I go too narrow, I'm not going to have as much stability. Too wide, gets a bit restrictive. Oh, we're only in putts, so it's not a huge difference, but just give yourself a good base. Shoulder width is pretty good. This mirror plate gives me a good template for that for me. If you were slightly inside that, again, it's a good template for you. Also, we have a line that runs across the middle of this mirror plate. I want that for my ball position. I want that line ideally to be the middle of my stance. So the ball sits just forward of that line. This line sits at the back edge of the ball, in other words. So the ball is just left of center. When I'm taking my address position from there, I also then want to see the handle just forward of that line. So my hands are slightly ahead. The ideal way to hit a putt is 1 degree aloft. This putter's got 3 degrees aloft. So if I have the shaft leaning forward slightly, it helps me deliver 1 degree aloft. That gives me the best roll on the ball. We want the ball to be running 90% of its journey. So having my setup with the correct width of stance, the correct eye position, the correct ball position and the correct handle position, The only thing left to check then would be the distance from the ball. So then I could work it in putt ahead. So that's 1, 2, 3. I could measure that more precisely. And again, I could go 1 putt ahead away from the mirror when the mirror has a tiny bit of gap between the putter and the ball. I could do all of that, or I could get an alignment stick and measure it in centimeters and inches, or a tape measure, whatever. But if you're practicing indoors, it's good to have a position on the carpet or the wooden floor that you would use to say, this is where I stand every time. This is where my eyes are, this is where my feet are. That would be a great way to check. Now, whenever you putt bad, then go back and check the basics. If they're on track, then it's more to do with your stroke, which we'll come to with some other gadgets in a second. But that would be a great way to start. So from there then, that's how I build my stance. Eyes in the same position every time, handle slightly forward, weight slightly forward, about 60%, and then from there, just putt as I would do normally. So the second device I'm going to talk about is the putt plate. Now the putt plate I like because it has the little gate to go through. So if your start line's poor, it helps that. And in putting, we generally have a few things. We either start the ball on the wrong line, we hit the ball with curvature, so the face being open and closed, or we hit it the wrong distance, or we misread. So we can work on all those things, but we have to kind of dial down to what thing we need to change for you to really upscale your putting. So with this, we have the gate to go through. We also have mirrors we can putt on the floor with it, which come with the putt plate. And I've also got here a half color ball, and the half color ball will show me if the ball's spinning a certain way. So again, I can use the mirrors on the floor and this putt plate here to get my eyes in the same position again every single time, hands forward. And then from there, I can go ahead and hit a putt. And the idea would be, can I get it through that gate? We can also add tees into these, little plastic tees into these and proper tees into these, which then would give us a barrier if the stroke was going too much in or too much out, both pre-impact, post-impact and backswing. So it's a nice little gadget to get your stroke online, very portable, you can chuck in the bag and work on your start line. And you aim this obviously at your intended target line to allow for that break and see if you can still start it online. You're not affected by the environment outside, which is key as well. The last gadget I really like is what we call the arc mat. Now, we should swing the putter on an arc. Now, these arc mats come in different sizes. You can even get one that's perfectly straight. Even though I don't believe the putter stroke is straight, it should have an arc. This one's a strong arc, and it's probably what I'd recommend most golfers would go for, strong or medium at least. What it also shows us is red lines on it to show the represented club face during the position of the arc. So we can then start to see, is our club face going back open or closed on the arc? Is it going through open the class, closed open on the arc? Are we releasing the putter correctly? So it just helps us get the stroke working on the correct amount of arc with a representative club face to hit straight putts. So ideally we're looking to start the ball on line. Bear in mind, if the face is 1 degree out from 8 foot, we miss the hole. So I repeat, 1 degree out from 8 foot, we miss the hole. So it's crucial we get the club face matching up to our stroke, even if we have 2 wrongs making a right, to give us a balance and harmony to hole putt. Set up, start to mirror the arc and the club face, both sides of the swing. And then try and feel we can produce that in the putt. So it gives us instant feedback of how our stroke is looking and a visual aid to help. We can also try and put a camera overhead with certain devices out there in the market. You can buy to that, or you can get someone to hold it so you can see how your putter's working in relation to that arc as you do your stroke. So there we have it. A putter mat you can use at home. You can use the other devices all outside. So a putter gate, kind of tool. We can use T-pegs outside in the green as well to represent that if we want something more portable. But certainly these devices will help you hit putts more aligned, with less side spin, with a correct stroke, and building a calibration around your setup to mean you can be consistent and repeatable and hole more putts and 3-putt less, and therefore lower your scores. It takes no physical attributes to be a good putter, so a little bit of time often will make a key difference to your golf game to make you score lower.